The inner circle of Prime Minister Trudeau's government gathering to hammer out strategy ahead of the return to Parliament Hill on the 19th of this month. Also in Vancouver, David Cochrane, who's covering all of it for us. Thank you, number one, for getting up so early to talk to all of us about what's going on there. It's important political news, David. What's topping the agenda at the meeting today?
Yeah, Heather, in a lot of ways, this is a cabinet retreat about the government kind of finding ways to get its act together. If you look at the challenges they face this summer, they've been hammered on the cost of living crisis that's happening not just in Canada, but around the world, but also a third-term, 7-year government and the inability to deliver on some pretty basic government services. They've been criticized for airports, passports, immigration, all core issues that caused the creation of a ministerial task force to try to get things sorted out. But it creates a political vulnerability for a government that's going to face a new leader of the Conservative Party on Saturday, when most likely Pierre Poilievre will become the leader of the Conservative Party. And if you can't run the basic operations of government and you're in the middle of a cost of living crisis caused by inflation, these create acute political vulnerabilities for the Liberals through a revitalized, potentially Conservative Party. And if Mr. Poilievre wins, someone who knows how to deliver a criticism and a sharp attack on the Liberal government. So this is something from speaking with ministers and their senior officials that they say they really kind of need to do. They need to focus on this and also come up with a better economic message. This is something they've really struggled. If you've listened to this government talk about how they're dealing with the cost of living, they speak about the role of institutions, the role of the Bank of Canada. They talk about how Canada is doing relative to other countries. Well, the average Canadian who struggles to fill up their grocery cart on a weekly or a monthly basis doesn't really care if we're better off than Sweden or France or Germany. They care about their reality. So there is an awareness here to find a way to speak to Canadians with more empathy about the challenges they're facing because of this affordability crisis, and just to clean up the mess in some of the service deliveries. They say it's gotten better. They point to improvement, the hiring spree they went on to find people to fix some of these challenges, but they need to show some clear results there while also addressing the economic tension that ordinary Canadians are feeling, especially, Heather, when we're expecting the Bank of Canada to jack up rates yet again.
David, the government has to square its priorities with those of the NDP because we can't forget that party agreed to vote with the Liberal minority government in exchange for the government's agreeing to meet a number of NDP benchmarks. So how is that relationship influencing the meeting there?
Yeah, I think we're going to see something specific on that relationship by the end of this summit. There's a lot of buzz that we're going to see something on the big high-level commitment that Jagmeet Singh extracted from Justin Trudeau in return for their support, and that's dental care. And this would be the creation of a national plan to provide dental care primarily for children with families under a certain household income. And there's certainly a sense you get from speaking with people, we're going to see something firm on that. I mean, just on a practical level, they'd like to have the deal with the NDP put on a stable footing as they go into the fall to deal with the larger issues that I outlined, and also face off the challenge of a resurgent Conservative Party. So we asked Dominic LeBlanc, the Intergovernmental Affairs Minister, about this last night because he sits on this committee that meets with the New Democrats on a monthly basis, sort of take stock of where that arrangement is. And here's how he described what's going on.
We're very confident that the 27 commitments that Mr. Singh and the Prime Minister made to Canadians will be enacted. We, once a month, take stock of our progress on those commitments. It is a very positive, constructive conversation we have with the NDP. Canadians wanted more focus on governing and less focus on politics. That's exactly what this agreement, supply and confidence agreement, allows us to do.
So you can see the confidence there from Dominic LeBlanc. He went on to say that, Heather, he thinks this arrangement is going to be a great exercise in democracy and show that they can meet that Canadian demand, that they want to see more governing and less politicking out of the federal government. We'll see. I mean, things are about to change dramatically coming Saturday. We'll see if they do come up with a quick action on issues like a $500 top-up for a housing allowance, and whether this dental announcement that we're anticipating sort of meets the bar that Jagmeet Singh has set for his support. Because as that dynamic changes between the Conservatives and the Liberals, Heather, the New Democrats don't want to be taken for granted in this arrangement and squeezed out. So they want to ensure that the 27 demands, the 27 conditions for their support that were agreed to are met in a timely fashion. And certainly the sense here in Vancouver, Heather, we're going to see something on dental care pretty quickly.
David, thank you. We'll wait the breaking news on that for sure from you. Really appreciate the coverage this morning. David Cochrane in Vancouver.